I joined the party coming up 7 years ago, which I guess now makes me a veteran. I remember going along to my first party conference. I saw perhaps 1-2 other faces under 25. It really fitted the stereotype. You know, grey hair, hearing aids and walking sticks, the kind of thing that everyone loves to think UKIP is. But whilst it doesn't sound particularly appealing to a young 19-year-old, what I actually found was an honesty, an openness, and a genuine, deep-rooted, passionate belief in democracy and freedom. And that is the point that lies at our very foundation. We're not, as some have said, and as ever fewer now continue to say, a single-issue, anti-EU party. We are a pro-democracy, pro-liberty party, one that originally had a single object of our attack, which was quite clearly the most manifestly anti-democratic quango invented by man in recent years, the European Union. But we are now applying our core principles to every other area of our life, both nationally and locally. It is not an accident that our general election manifesto had the strapline "Empowering the People," nor is it a coincidence that our local election manifesto has the strapline "We the People." These, on their own, are not platitudinous epithets. We actually believe these things. And you might say, well, yes, every party says they believe it. And yes, they do. But the difference is, unlike the rotten three parties, this party is, again, as is on here, straight talking. And no one can accuse Nigel Farage of mincing his words. But people know that we mean what we say, because we speak with an honesty that an entire cadre of career politicians do not. We say that every pub is a parliament, and that we speak on issues that real people talk about and care about. And we do. We're not afraid to prick the Westminster bubble and address issues that concern real people. Issues that an arrogant and detached political class failed to address. I think last election's Bigotgate sums this up quite aptly and just shows the contempt that Westminster has for real people. Well, I can assure you that the feeling is mutual. It's often said as well that this country suffers from political apathy. No, we don't. It's not apathy, it's antipathy. We hear the same common complaints all the time. You're all the same, or it doesn't matter who I vote for, it won't make a difference. The establishment parties offer no real choice whatsoever. Is it any wonder why voters feel powerless when manifesto pledges are reneged upon? Whether it's Labour's constitution referendum, the Liberal Democrats' student fees pledge, or the Tories' cast iron pledge on the Lisbon referendum. All of these are broken promises. Is it any wonder that voters feel powerless when the Prime Minister stands in Parliament impotent on votes for prisoners, or when, whilst we're cutting public spending to get our finances in order, the savings are swallowed up by Euro bailouts for the feckless and the reckless? If you read our local manifesto, you'll see a clear theme throughout it. Empowering we the people, getting government off our backs and out of our lives, giving each of us real democratic control, or even better, direct personal control over our public services and communities, from education and health right through to policing and housing development. It's a point of principle for us that government and public services are accountable downwards to the people and not upwards to bureaucrats who are unaccountable, whether they be in Whitehall or in Brussels. It's a vision for a leaner, meaner, localised and more transparent government at all levels, putting we the people back in control of our own lives and our own government. This message is attractive to a great many people, in particular young people. Today's youth are the kings and queens of our personal lives, but the serfs of the world around us. We're used to companies responding to our every whim and fickle desire. Government does not. We have iPods to play the music we want when we want, mobile phones to communicate with whom we want, when we want, and the internet to access what we want, when we want it. Government gives us what we don't want, when it wants. Many of our younger members, myself included, have never been a member of another political party before joining UKIP. And many of us have never voted for another party before supporting UKIP. Our growing ranks of young activists and voters are not being driven by defections or protest. but because UKIP is now speaking on a range of issues, offering a real alternative, and there is now a generation growing up choosing UKIP as their natural political home. In the last 2 years, the pace of new members joining us in the 18 to 24 age bracket has steadily accelerated, but in the last 9 months or so, we've really seen a jump in new members in the 14, 15 and 16 age groups. This group, more than any other, seem to have joined not necessarily based on any particular policy, but because they identify with our overall message and they identify themselves as natural UKIP supporters. UKIP is now firmly established as the fourth party in British politics, and on the current polling we're making good strides, with help from the Liberal Democrats, towards third place. I mentioned before that as a new member I was struck by the honesty and passionate belief of our members. I should add to this that I also found an absence of any hierarchy or snobbery. Instead, just ordinary people united by a shared belief with mutual respect for each other regardless of background or age. Young Independence, in that vein, is not a sandpit designed to keep the children occupied whilst the grown-ups get on with the important jobs of running the party. And you certainly don't join a small anti-establishment party and slog the streets delivering leaflets for glory or personal gain. We do it because we believe something in the pits of our stomachs that the failed old parties simply do not believe. By contrast, Young Independence members are fully involved and active in many roles, from branch chairman and committee members to local, regional, general and European election candidates. I've been every one of those. In every respect, we're helping to take the party to the next level. And I'm really proud to be able to stand here and say that we have 72 Young Independence candidates standing for us in this local elections in May. UKIP is only 18 years old. We've had our difficult teenage years and our fair share of growing pains, but I feel that the party is settling down into young adulthood. Certainly in another 18 years, I have no doubt whatsoever that UKIP will be a permanent fixture on the British political landscape. As for Cameron, Clegg and Miliband, their platitudes and hollow promises will not do. Voters are angry, even their own party members are angry. The change is happening, and you won't fool the children of this revolution. Thank you.